The truth is most of our pain doesn't come from what happens to us. It comes from how we think about what happens. Negative thoughts are like invisible chains. They hold you back, drain your energy, and stop you from becoming who you're meant to be. But if you learn to control your mind, no one and nothing can control you. That's where the wisdom of Stoicism comes in, not just philosophy, but mental armor. So let's talk about 5 powerful Stoic laws that'll help you remove negative thoughts and live with strength, clarity, and peace. Control what you can, release what you can't. Most people waste their life worrying about things outside their control. What others think, what might happen tomorrow, how someone treated them. But Stoicism teaches you only control your actions, your choices, and your attitude. Everything else, let it go. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you create peace inside. Say it to yourself. If it's out of my hands, it's out of my mind. Perception is power. The way you see the world becomes your world. 2 people can live the same moment. One sees a curse, the other sees a lesson. When something painful happens, don't ask, why me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Change your perception and you take back your power. Remember, your thoughts don't control you. You control your thoughts. Choose calm over chaos. Life will test you. People will provoke you, but reacting emotionally gives your power away. When you feel anger, pause. When you feel insulted, breathe. When you feel chaos rising, remind yourself, I choose calm. Stillness is not weakness, it's self-mastery. Practice voluntary discomfort. Here's something most people never do. They avoid struggle, they avoid pain, they avoid failure. But Stoics understood something deeper. Discomfort trains your mind. Wake up early, take a cold shower, push yourself beyond comfort. When you practice discomfort on purpose, you become unbreakable in chaos. Comfort creates softness. Discipline creates freedom. Remember, you could lose everything tomorrow. This one is tough, but it's real. Every moment, every person, every opportunity could disappear. So don't take life for granted. When you remember how fragile life is, you stop complaining and start living. You appreciate more. You forgive faster. You let go easier. Gratitude kills negativity. Closing powerful and reflective. So when those dark thoughts creep in, when doubt, fear, and anger try to take over, come back to these 5 laws. Control what you can. Change your perception. Choose calm. Embrace discomfort. Be grateful for now. Because peace doesn't come from silence outside. It comes from strength inside. You don't need to escape your mind. You just need to master it. Control your mind, or it will control you. That simple truth separates those who lead their lives with strength from those who are led by fear, doubt, and distraction. Most people wake up every day and immediately surrender their minds to chaos, checking their phones, reacting to messages, scrolling through noise, and letting the world decide how they should feel. Without realizing it, they hand over control of their emotions to everyone and everything around them. And when you lose control of your thoughts, you lose control of your life. Your mind is the command center of everything you do. Every decision, every emotion, every action starts with a thought. If your thoughts are undisciplined, your life will follow that same pattern. Scattered, reactive, and unstable. But if you take control of your inner world, you begin to create a life built on intention, not impulse. The problem is that most people don't even notice when their mind starts controlling them. They let negative self-talk dictate their confidence. They let other people's opinions shape their identity. They allow past pain to rewrite the story of who they are. When you live in that state, every challenge feels heavier than it really is. You start believing that circumstances have power over you. But in truth, the only power the outside world has is the power you give it. Your mind decides how you interpret events, how you react, and what meaning you assign to everything that happens. Two people can face the same situation. One breaks, the other grows. The difference isn't luck, it's mental discipline. One person commands their thoughts, the other is a prisoner to them. Controlling your mind doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or pretending to be unaffected. It means understanding your emotions, observing them, and not letting them dictate your behavior. When anger rises, you pause before you speak. When fear whispers, you challenge it with logic. When self-doubt shows up, you remind yourself that thoughts are not facts. The more you practice awareness, the stronger your control becomes. Self-mastery begins the moment you stop reacting and start responding. There's a voice inside you that is constantly talking, analyzing, comparing, predicting, criticizing. Most of those thoughts are repetitive and negative. The mind's natural state is noise. But if you can quiet that noise, even for a few moments a day, you'll realize how much of your suffering was self-created. Meditation, journaling, reflection, or even simple breathing exercises can train you to detach from that voice. You begin to see thoughts as clouds, temporary, passing, and powerless unless you give them attention. When your mind controls you, you become addicted to external validation. You need others to tell you that you're doing well, that you're enough, that you're worthy. But when you control your mind, your validation comes from within. You stop seeking approval because you already know who you are. You don't let praise inflate your ego or criticism destroy your peace. You understand that both are just opinions, not truths. Negative thoughts will always exist. You can't eliminate them, but you can decide what to do with them. When a negative thought appears, I'm not good enough, I'll fail, they don't like me, pause and question it. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me or harming me? If it's harming you, you replace it. You redirect your focus to something constructive. That's what controlling your mind looks like in practice. Constant awareness, constant redirection. You become the gatekeeper of your own mental space. Your environment also plays a massive role in your mental state. The people you spend time with, the content you consume, the routines you follow, all of it shapes your thoughts. If your environment is chaotic, negative, or draining, your mind will reflect that. So you have to protect your space like it's sacred. Surround yourself with people who elevate your thinking. Consume content that inspires growth. Build habits that keep your mind sharp. Control the inputs, and you'll control the outputs. Most people think freedom means doing whatever they want, but true freedom is the ability to think whatever you choose. When your mind is disciplined, you're not swayed by emotions, trends, or fears. You decide how to interpret every situation. You decide whether to be offended or unaffected, anxious or calm, defeated or determined. That kind of freedom cannot be taken from you. Mental control also requires responsibility. You have to take ownership of how you think. You can't blame others for your reactions, your moods, or your mindset. The moment you do, you're handing over control again. Responsibility doesn't mean fault. It means power. When you accept that you are in charge of how you think, you can change anything. Training your mind is like training your body. You can't go to the gym once and expect results. It takes repetition, discipline, and patience. Every time you catch yourself slipping into negativity and pull yourself back, you strengthen that mental muscle. Every time you choose calm over chaos, logic over impulse, you become more powerful. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. When you begin mastering your mind, people will notice the difference. You'll stop reacting to drama. You'll stop explaining yourself to those who misunderstand you. You'll stop chasing peace because you'll realize peace isn't something you find. It's something you create inside your own head. Control your thoughts and you'll control your energy. Control your energy and you'll control your life. The world will always test you. It will push your patience, trigger your emotions, and try to pull you off balance. But if your mind is strong, no one can shake you. You will stand calm when others panic, confident when others doubt, and clear when others are lost. The storms will come, but they won't control your direction because you've already anchored yourself within. Control your mind or it will control you. That's not just a principle. It's a way of living that separates those who merely exist from those who truly thrive. Every thought you entertain is either building your peace or feeding your chaos. The choice between the two is made every single day, in every single moment, by one person, you. Perception shapes reality. Master how you see, not what you face. Every experience you go through, every challenge, every success, every disappointment is filtered through one thing: your perception. It's not what happens that defines you. It's how you interpret what happens. Life will always give you moments that test you, but it's your perspective that determines whether you grow stronger or collapse under pressure. The same storm that destroys one person can cleanse and renew another. The event is the same, but the perception changes everything. The mind is powerful because it can pain into purpose, or peace into chaos, depending on how you choose to see it. You can look at a setback and see failure, or you can see a lesson. You can look at rejection and see humiliation, or you can see redirection. The situation doesn't define your life. Your perception of it does. That's why mastering perception is one of the highest forms of self-control. When you train your mind to interpret events through the lens of growth and strength, you take back power from circumstances. You stop being a victim of life and you start becoming a student of it. Every day, you are interpreting the world through invisible lenses shaped by your beliefs, your past, and your emotions. Most people never question those lenses. They react automatically, assuming their first interpretation is the truth. But the truth is rarely what it seems in the moment. Sometimes the worst things that happen to you are setting you up for something better. Sometimes losing what you thought you needed reveals what you were actually meant for. When your perception matures, you begin to understand that reality isn't fixed. It bends to the way you think about it. The greatest mistake people make is assuming that emotions reflect truth. Just because you feel hopeless doesn't mean you are hopeless. Just because you feel rejected doesn't mean you're unworthy. Feelings are not facts. They are signals, temporary reactions that reflect how you're viewing a situation in that moment. When you learn to step back and observe your feelings instead of being consumed by them, you start gaining control over how you experience life. You can feel the pain, but still choose perspective. You can feel fear, but still choose courage. That choice is what defines mastery. Imagine two people facing the same challenge, both lose their jobs. One sees it as proof that life is unfair, that they're unlucky, that nothing ever works out. The other sees it as an opportunity to reinvent themselves, to finally build something on their own terms. The external event is identical, but the inner world is completely different. One spirals, the other rises. What changed? Perception. That's why the mind is your greatest weapon or your greatest weakness, depending on how you use it. Your perception also determines your level of peace. People who always expect the worst, who interpret every silence as rejection, every disagreement as disrespect, every inconvenience as a personal attack, they live in constant turmoil, not because life is cruel, but because they are choosing a lens that creates suffering. On the other hand, those who learn to pause, to question, to interpret with patience and curiosity. They find peace even in uncertainty. They understand that not everything is against them. Sometimes things simply are. When you master your perception, you stop giving others the power to define your mood. Someone insults you, and instead of reacting, you think, that's a reflection of them, not me. Someone ignores you, and instead of spiraling into doubt, you think maybe they're fighting their own battle. This is how emotional resilience is built, not by changing the world around you, but by changing how you see it. The moment you realize that perception is a choice, you stop being powerless. The mind naturally gravitates toward negativity. It's a survival mechanism to focus on threats to predict pain. But in today's world, that instinct can trap you in a cycle of overthinking, anxiety, and fear. That's why you have to consciously train your perception to look for balance. When something bad happens, don't just ask, why is this happening to me? Ask, what can this teach me? That one shift takes you from victimhood to control. Pain becomes your teacher instead of your jailer. The strongest people you know aren't those who never face problems. They're the ones who see their problems differently. They understand that adversity isn't punishment, it's preparation. Every difficulty sharpens your awareness, builds your patience, and deepens your strength. When your perception becomes your ally, even chaos can't shake your peace. You start trusting the process instead of fearing it. You start believing that everything you face has value, even if that value isn't clear yet. Your perception also determines how you see people. When you assume good intentions, you create understanding. When you assume the worst, you create conflict. Many relationships break not because of reality, but because of perception. Two people can experience the same situation, but interpret it differently. That's why clarity, communication, and empathy are forms of strength. They help you see beyond your initial bias and choose understanding over judgment. When you train your perception, you start seeing life as neutral. Events just happen. The meaning comes from you. A loss can be tragedy or transformation. A delay can be frustration or divine timing. A failure can be humiliation or guidance. You get to decide. That power doesn't come from luck or privilege. It comes from discipline. You have to catch yourself when your mind rushes to negativity, pause, and reframe the narrative. Every time you do that, you're rewriting the story of your life. Perception isn't about pretending everything is positive. It's about choosing truth over reaction. It's about seeing things as they are, not worse than they are. It's about recognizing that how you see determines how you feel, and how you feel determines what you do. You can't always change what happens, but you can always control how you interpret it. That is the foundation of inner peace and personal power. When you master your perception, life stops being something that happens to you and becomes something you create. You see patterns where others see problems. You see opportunities where others see obstacles. You start realizing that every experience, good or bad, can serve you if you allow it to. Reality bends to perception, not the other way around, because in the end, the world doesn't shape your mind. Your mind shapes your world. Discomfort builds strength. Gratitude destroys negativity. Every person wants peace, happiness, and growth, but few are willing to go through what it truly takes to get there. The reality is comfort doesn't teach, it numbs. The moments that shape you the most are never the easy ones. They're the times when you're pushed to your limits, when you're uncertain, when you're uncomfortable. That's where your strength is built, in the fire, not in the calm. The problem is most people avoid that fire. They run from discomfort, from failure, from effort, from anything that challenges their ego. They crave ease, but ease never builds anything worthwhile. Discomfort is not punishment, it's preparation. It's the universe's way of stretching you, of showing you who you really are when everything familiar is stripped away. The gym doesn't build strength without resistance, and life doesn't build character without struggle. Every time you choose to face something uncomfortable, waking up early, saying no when you need to, having a difficult conversation, stepping out of your comfort zone, you're training your mind to endure, to adapt, to rise. You're teaching yourself that you can do hard things, and that lesson changes everything. The truth is, most growth feels like pain when you're in it. You'll question yourself. You'll doubt your abilities. You'll want to go back to safety. But safety kills potential. It keeps you small. Discomfort, on the other hand, expands you. It forces you to confront fear, laziness, and insecurity. It makes you earn your confidence. That's why the strongest people in the world aren't those who've had it easy. They're the ones who kept moving through things that hurt. They understood that struggle is not an obstacle, it's the path itself. When you embrace discomfort, you stop seeing challenges as threats and start seeing them as teachers. You begin to understand that failure is feedback, not finality. Every rejection sharpens your resilience. Every mistake deepens your wisdom. Discomfort shows you the difference between who you are and who you could become. It burns away your illusions, your excuses, and your fears until only your truth remains. The pain you avoid today is the strength you'll need tomorrow. And the more you face it willingly, the less control it has over you. But strength alone is not enough. You can be tough and still miserable. If your mind is filled with negativity, resentment, and comparison, that's where gratitude comes in. Gratitude is the antidote to everything toxic that lives in your thoughts. You can't be truly grateful and bitter at the same time. You can't focus on what you have and still feel empty about what you don't. Gratitude shifts your entire mental state. It replaces envy with appreciation, anxiety with peace, and frustration with understanding. It doesn't erase problems, but it gives you the strength to face them differently. People often wait to be grateful until life feels perfect, but perfection never comes. Gratitude isn't something you practice when everything is easy. It's what keeps you grounded when everything is not. It's the quiet voice that says, even in the chaos, I still have something to be thankful for. That mindset changes how you see the world. Instead of complaining about what went wrong, you start noticing what's still right. Instead of resenting what you lost, you begin appreciating what you gained from the experience. Gratitude turns pain into perspective. Every day offers 100 reasons to be negative. People disappoint you, plans fail, things go wrong. But every day also offers 1,000 reasons to be thankful, a chance to wake up, to breathe, to start again, to learn, to love, to grow. Gratitude is a discipline, just like strength. It's not about ignoring pain. It's about refusing to let pain blind you from the blessings that still exist. When you focus on what's good, you attract more good. When you focus on what's missing, you magnify emptiness. The mind follows where your attention goes. The combination of discomfort and gratitude creates a powerful balance. Discomfort builds your outer strength, your ability to endure, to act, to fight through adversity. Gratitude builds your inner strength, your ability to stay calm, to see clearly, to find light even in darkness. Without discomfort, you become soft. Without gratitude, you become bitter. Together, they create resilience, the kind of quiet, unshakable confidence that can't be broken by circumstances. If you look at the people who inspire you the most, they've all lived through discomfort. They've failed, been rejected, been doubted, but they didn't give up. They found meaning in the struggle. They found gratitude in the lessons. They didn't wait for things to get easier. they got stronger. That's the difference between people who merely survive life and those who grow through it. Discomfort doesn't mean you have to suffer unnecessarily. It means you choose growth over comfort. It means you don't run from challenges that make you better. It means you willingly enter situations that stretch your mind and heart, knowing that pain is temporary, but strength lasts forever. Every time you face discomfort, you're building a version of yourself that can handle more. You're raising your threshold for life. You're turning weakness into wisdom. Gratitude is what keeps that process beautiful. It's what keeps you from turning hard while you're getting strong. It reminds you that there's still goodness even in struggle. It teaches you to see value where others see pain. You start realizing that the same thing that once broke you became the reason you grew. Gratitude transforms memory into motivation. It lets you say, I'm thankful for what hurt me because it showed me who I am. When you practice gratitude daily, even in small things, a quiet morning, a kind word, a lesson learned, you build emotional armor. Negativity loses its grip on you because your focus is no longer on what's lacking, but on what's already enough. That shift is powerful. It keeps you stable when life shakes you. It keeps you humble when success arrives and hopeful when failure does. Gratitude doesn't just destroy negativity. It transforms your entire vibration. It gives you peace that isn't dependent on circumstances. Discomfort teaches you to be strong. Gratitude teaches you to be soft. Together, they make you whole. When life gets difficult, you'll no longer ask, why me? You'll ask, what is this teaching me? And what can I still be thankful for? That's the mindset of a person who cannot be broken. Someone who doesn't run from the storm or curse the rain, but learns to dance in it.